بسم الله الذي لا إله سواه الواحد الأحد الفرد الصمد الذي لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله كما صليت وسلمت وباركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع ومن قلب لا يخشع ومن نفس لا تشبع ومن دعاء لا يسمع Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I pray that all of you are well. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make our moments together moments in His dhikr, moments in His remembrance subhanahu wa ta'ala. May He make it moments of beneficial ilm as we have been trying to learn ilm that is nafi', ilm that benefits me in my relationship with Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cause by His grace this ilm to be internalized by me. May it enter my mind, may it enter my understanding, may it enter my heart, and may it animate my actions, and may it change my life by the catalyst of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's grace, the catalyst of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's tawfiq. Sheikh Mukhtar offers his apology. He was not feeling very well yesterday, and he asked that one of the other teachers please teach this applied learning seminar. So as you know, we have some time together in which we are learning about the grace of calamity, finding serenity in challenge, finding peace in the trials, in the tribulations of life. And as many of you know, Hafidhukumullah, the Suhbah Seminary has an applied learning seminar every month. And the intent of this seminar is that we try to understand a topic that is very important, especially in contemporary times. But we understand this topic in a way that's true to our principles in Islam. We don't want to understand the issue that's facing us in a way that imitates other approaches or in a way that mimics other philosophies or ideologies. But we want to try to understand the issue in light of our principles, our rational principles in Islam and our spiritual principles in Islam as well. And so that's the approach, inshallah, that we will be taking to this topic, the grace of calamity, of trials, of challenges. Calamity, we mean by that any trial, any challenge in life, any pain, any discomfort, the anxieties of life, and yes, the great pains and discomforts of life that we may call calamities. But it refers generically to every one of life's difficulties and life's challenges. And so we're going to, inshallah, in this time, few hours we have together, we're going to look at the topic of trials and tests and calamities from what many of you would know would be an usuli approach. An usuli approach, asl, singular, usul, plural, means a principle. It means many things, but most importantly for us, it means a principle. Asl, a principle. So what are the principles of the topic? What are the principles, the rules, the guidelines, the philosophy, if you like, of how a Muslim is meant to understand the topic of trials and tribulations? And that usuli approach, or principle approach, is going to look fundamentally at two things. One is the knowledge, the ilm of calamity, and we will be using the Arabic word for calamity, Balā. Balā. Balā means calamity, tests, trials, challenges. What is the ilm of Balā? How do I properly understand the concept of trial and tests and tribulations in Islam from a knowledge, an ilmi perspective? Number one. And then number two, how do I understand the topic of trial and test and challenge from an action-based, an action-oriented, or an amali perspective? So we're going to begin first by looking at trying to understand what is trial, what is challenge, what is balā, from an ilmi, from a knowledge perspective. And many of you would have heard this beautiful saying, al-ilmu nur, knowledge, sacred knowledge, is nur, it's light. Light enlightens. Light makes clear. Light clarifies. If I live in darkness, I can't see. So ilm is like light because ilm makes the knowables, makes the objects, makes my environment, makes ideas, makes concepts clear. Al-ilmu nur. Knowledge, sacred knowledge, is light. And when my environment, when the way is clear, I can travel, I can journey. There is no choice, there is no journeying, there is no life without ilm that makes life clear. So here, the ilm of Balā is that ilm which makes the nature of Balā clear. What is calamity? What is a trial? What is a test? What's the objective of it? Why does it exist? Are there benefits in trials and tests and calamities and tribulations? Are there secrets in it? What's the reality of a trial and a tribulation? So that ilm is like light. It's going to, insha'Allah, make that knowledge, make the knowledge of, or make the reality of trials and tribulations clear. So we begin with that. The first principle of ilm, this is, if you like, a self-evident principle, which means it doesn't have to be proved. It's obvious, it's axiomatic, it's intuitive, which is that Balā is real, that life is Balā. Life is trial. Life is tribulation. Life is test. The nature of life is Balā. How do I know that? If it's self-evident. How do I know it? Because I experience it. I have lived. How many years have I lived? Has my life been without Balā? Have I had a few days go by without any Balā? All of us at this moment, each of us is undergoing Balā. Different kinds of Balā. Physical, material, psychological, emotional, spiritual, at the family, with our spouse, with our children, with our neighbors, with our environment, with our work, in the country, economically, financially, maybe politically, intellectual challenges, philosophical challenges. Each of us is living Balā. And therefore, Balā, the existence of trials and tests, we can say is self-evident. It doesn't require any proof. However, I may still not accept something which is self-evident. There are many things that are self-evident. There are many self-evident truths in life and in deen, but I may not truly accept it. I know it, but I may not truly know it. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallama teaches us, Allahumma arina al-haqqa haqqa warzuqna ittiba'a. Ya Allah, show me truth as it is. Show me truth. First of all, I may not see truth. Then, if I see truth, or it's shown to me, I may not acknowledge it. I don't recognize it. It's shown to me. That doesn't mean that I acknowledge it. Doesn't mean that I say inside of me, that's true. And number three, just because I see it or it's shown to me, and just because I acknowledge it, doesn't mean that I follow it. Doesn't mean that I follow it. Knowing, knowing, and knowing. So I could know a lot. I could know a lot. Even about deen. It doesn't mean that I have acknowledged it. And it doesn't mean that I actually do what I know. And that knowledge, that first knowledge of knowing, it's not beneficial for me. And that second knowledge of knowing, it's not beneficial for me if I acknowledge it but I don't do it. It's only when I know, I acknowledge, and I do that ilm is beneficial for me with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so he said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, this fact, لم يبقى من الدنيا إلا بلاء وفتنة. There's nothing left in dunya except Balā, trials, and let's say fitna, the same thing, similar to that for our purpose. Dunya is all about لم يبقى من الدنيا. There's nothing left in dunya except Balā and fitna. Meaning all of it is in reality Balā, challenge and trial, and fitna. And then he says, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wasallam, therefore, if I know and acknowledge this, فَأَعِدُّوا لِلْبَلَاءِ صَبْرًا. So get ready. Get ready. Prepare. Prepare for Balā. Because if you live, you will face Balā. If you're alive, if I breathe, I'm going to face Balā. And if that's the case, it makes sense to get ready, prepare. It has to come. It's around the corner. And when it goes, there'll be another Balā. And when that goes, there'll be another Balā. And I should never expect it to end. Because to expect it to end is to expect what? The impossible. The impossible. I want water to be fire and fire to be water. I can want all I want. I can desire all I desire. It will not be so. So he says, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, very beautiful text. It has so much meaning. فَعِدُّوا لِلْبَلَاءِ صَبْرٌ. So prepare sabr for Balā. Now, the intent, hafidhukumullah, of me reminding myself of Balā is with what I learn, to know it, to acknowledge it, and to act appropriately when I am confronted with it. To internalize it, and if you like, to ready and steady myself for Balā. I don't seek it. I don't seek test. But that doesn't mean it will not come. None of us wants to be tested. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instead for afiyah, for freedom of test. Freedom of harm, actually not freedom of test. Freedom of harm from the test and in the test. So though I don't ask for Balā, the reality is it will come. It is inevitable. And in that picture of calamity is a reality, there are two people. What do you think that means? Why did our volunteers choose this picture for calamity is a reality? Because it's with you all the time. It's your sahib on the path. It's your companion on the path. You can't say, Balā, go away. It's with you. And even when you're praying, you're in Balā. Even when I'm praying, I'm in a type of trial, as we shall see. That being so, what is calamity's real reality? What is the meaning, as we said, of calamity? Why does it exist? Why was it, remember, created? Balā just didn't appear. Allah created it. Allah made it. Why did Allah make it? What's the wisdom of that? What's the meaning of Balā? And what are the benefits of Balā? Now here, I should say this, that I will only know about the nature of Balā through revelation. In the same way that I'll only know about the nature of the world and existence and the meaning of existence by wahi. Allah made the world. Allah made Balā. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only being, the creator, who can tell me and you why he made it, what purpose he made it for. Without the light, and we said al-ilmu nur, knowledge is light. Without the light of wahi, I will never know not only the nature of the world, why does the world exist without being told by Allah, the creator of the world. And then I have to figure it out with my limited life experience, feeling, knowledge, intellect. How can that be? How can someone who lives, let's say, 70 years figure out the meaning of existence? It's impossible. So without knowing the full picture, shall we say, the full picture of existence. And wahi, if you like, gives me the full picture. Because existence is that which is seen and that which is unseen. If I don't have access to the greater part of existence, the unseen world, how can I understand the seen world? I'm only looking at, some of you probably did, a 1,000-piece puzzle, right? Right? Or 100 or 300-piece puzzle. Imagine looking, so you know where I'm going with this. Imagine looking at one puzzle piece. And that one puzzle piece is even not the totality of what exists in four-dimensional existence, relatively speaking. What exists of what we know in known existence is probably not even a dot. So make sense of a dot when you have 1,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 puzzle piece. Will you ever know the picture? Will you ever know the content? Will I ever know what is going on? I just see a small little dot, or we're being super generous. Or I see a puzzle piece. Is it a car? Is it a scene of nature? Is it an animal? I would have not known. Wahi gives me the full picture. And therefore, in the definition of ilm, al-ilmu ma'rifatu shay' ala ma huwa alayh. That's a definition of knowledge. What is knowledge? Al-ilmu ma'rifatu shay'. To know something, ala ma huwa alayh, as it is. Not as I think it to be. Not as I understand it from a puzzle piece out of 5,000 puzzle pieces, or a speck from the universe itself. Therefore, I have to, the intelligent, the rational, the wise, the mature individual must know that he or she does not have access to the fullness of existence. And he or she must be informed by the creator of that existence. And therefore, imagine for one moment, imagine someone, the psychology of someone that does not know the meaning of life and tests. Imagine, alhamdulillah, we're Muslims. Walillahi alhamd wal minna. And we take it for granted. We take it for granted that I know what the meaning of a test is. At least we know it's an exam. Imagine someone that does not know, someone who doesn't believe in Tawheed, who has not received or accepted or embraced the wahi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How would they look at the test? What is a test? What is life, but what is a test? These things that come and hurt me and wound me, like an assault, life assaulting me, people hurting me, the universe so terrible, poor old me, little me. So someone, the psychology of someone that doesn't know the meaning of Balā, imagine the meaninglessness of a test or a trial, or the confusion from that, confusion. And from confusion, anxieties. From anxieties, fear. From fear, sadness. And from sadness, even more. The psychology of one that doesn't know the meaning of Balā. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through his Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam has taught us the aims, the objectives, the mysteries, indeed, the meanings, the benefits of Balā, passed on from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam to the ulama rabbaniyun, to the saintly ulama who have passed to us, and we've received this without any effort on our part, without any effort on my part, truly, and without any eligibility on my part as well. Receive this gift of the meaning of Balā. And so we begin. We started already, but this point. I think we all know. What do we know? Life is an exam. I think every Muslim knows that, right? Right? Did you know that? I think that we know. Life is an exam. We're going to add, life is a multiple choice exam. That is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created life, and many of you have heard this before, not just to be an exam of pass and fail, but to be an exam of more than pass and fail. الَّذِي خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ. Allah created death and created life. لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ. Why did Allah do that? In order to test you, for the purpose of testing you. Who of you is best? Who of us is best in deeds? أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. Therefore, the test of life, and I remind myself of that, inshallah of you, is not about simply pass and fail. It's about acceptable, it's about good, it's about better, it's about best. And like every exam has a grading scheme, whether it's from A+ to F, or whether it's GPA, the exam of life, my exam, my life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at this moment has a grade for me. At this point in my life now, this time equal now, based on what I have lived and what I have done and what I have not done. Based on that, at this moment, with Allah, I have a grade. And that grade is not simply, P or F. That's a grade of even more than percentage points, more than 0.001% in terms of the gradations of my success in passing my exam in life. And I may be, Hafidhakumullah, I may be a D- Muslim, or a D, or a D+, or a C-, or C or C+ Muslim, or a B- Muslim, or B or B+, or an A-, or an A, or an A+, and there's no ceiling beyond that. I could be A++, because Allah is infinite. Allah is infinite, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And why do I write an exam? Life is an exam. Probably all of us have written exams. We write exam for many reasons. One is self-discovery. So when Allah Ta'ala says that life is an exam, it includes the meaning that the exam of my life is going to help me discover who I am. Self-discovery. Ever wrote an exam and then I thought I knew the material and I thought I aced it, and then what happened? 70%. And I was so sure I knew it. No, I didn't know it. Yeah, I thought I knew it, but I didn't know it. So self-discovery. As the tests come, I realize what I'm made of. I realize how strong I am or how weak I am. I realize the faults I have. Self-discovery. I write an exam to improve. So the exam of life, self-discovery of the wisdoms of that. Self-improvement. So I can grow. Because when I write the exam and I don't do well, what do? I check if I'm a good student. And I learn what I thought I knew and what I didn't know. To extract my potential. It's a test, it challenges me. And that challenge means that I learn more and I struggle more, and it makes me better. And I get a grade. And as we said, that grade is a spectrum of a grade that at this moment I have with Allah, and Allah knows. And maybe I might have a vague sense. Maybe Allah knows, but Allah for each of us. Is that scary? Is that scary? That each of us has a grade now with Allah. And not only it's not pure F, it's a range. Where am I in the divine scale? Where am I with Him, subhanahu wa ta'ala? And where do I think I am versus where I really am? And then that Balā helps me graduate, move to a next level. I pass the course, and then what? Undergrad, then grad, then after grad, then what? Postgrad, then fellowship. The exams help me move from stage to stage, from level to level. What's interesting here, hafidhukumullah, when you ponder it, the concept of Balā determines who I am with Allah. The concept of Balā and the way I interact with trials and challenge, that tells me what kind of student I am with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the student in the course who doesn't write an exam can make any claim. It's the exam that tells them where they stand. So in my life, when things are easy, that's not necessarily, but even that is quite interesting. Even that's a Balā. But the concept of Balā, let us say, and then we see, inshallah, how wide that is. This concept of Balā and the concept of life being an exam, it's so wide that it includes everything in life. Pain is a test. Did I think that pleasure was a test? When I think of trials, do I think of pleasure as a trial? Do you? No. We don't think of pleasure as a trial. We think of pain as a trial. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ. Every soul will taste of death. وَنَبْلُوكُمْ بِالشَّرِّ وَالْخَيْرِ فِتْنَةً. And we will test you as a trial. That which is shar, that which you don't like, and that which you like. وَالْخَيْرِ fitna. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying here that actually good times are a trial too. And therefore I have to widen now. Now I widen my lens, my understanding of what Balā is by ilm. It's not just the bad times, it's the good times. How can I fail a test of good times? Well, how can I fail a test of bad times? By not showing sabr. Simple, right? Can I fail a test of good times? How? By not showing shukr. by not being grateful, by not being thankful, by not using what Allah gives me in a way that Allah loves. That's not being shakir. I have freedom here. Alhamdulillah, Istanbul. If I didn't appreciate the adhan, did I pass the test? You won't find adhan in many places. If I don't appreciate the adhan and I take it for granted, did I pass the test or did I fail it? If I don't respond to the adhan when I'm able to and go to the masjid, especially for men, did I pass the test or did I fail it? When I have all this freedom to be a Muslim and to practice my values, more freedom than I have in most of the world, including the so-called democratic world. With all this freedom, do I obey Allah? Do I obey Allah as I should, given the bounty and the freedom? Do I show enough gratitude given my freedom so that I worship Allah in the way befitting of the bounty and grace He gave me? If I didn't do that, did I pass the test of good times? Did I pass the test of showing gratitude and shukr? And for most of us, it's much harder. Because many of us, first of all, I may not even see good times as a test, right? And even if I didn't see that now, to keep that in my mind and to understand all life is a test, that means good times. That means all the good times that I live. And I live either one of two times. What? Good or bad. And therefore, test and test. I'm always tested by Allah Ta'ala, whether in good times or whether in bad times. I'm going to skip that one. As a Muslim, we say, to become a Muslim, I testify that there is no one to be worshipped besides Allah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. The shahada, the witnessing, the testimony. Now that is what makes everyone a Muslim. The testimony, the shahada. But as Maulana Rumi radiallahu ta'ala an says, what does he say? Love is like a lawsuit. It requires evidence. Maulana Rumi, rahimahullah, he says, love is like a lawsuit. And a lawsuit demands evidence. So when I say, as a Muslim, I believe in Allah, and then of course, that Allah is the creator, that Allah is the sustainer, that Allah is the provider, that Allah has the only right to legislate, that Allah has the right to be obeyed, that all of that is included in Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. All of that is included in it, that Allah is the only ilah, and to whom belongs the most perfect lordship, rububiyyah. And therefore, my station with regard to the Lord is the slave. My relationship with regard to the Lord, there is only one Lord. I am a slave. And the slave lovingly submits. The slave lovingly submits. But the slaves claim, the abd claim of Ya Allah, you are my Lord. In Surah Al-Fatiha, one of the Salaf said, had Allah not ordered me to say, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ, had Allah not ordered me and revealed that to be read, what do we say? Ya Allah, only you do I worship. إِيَّاكَ, you only, نَعْبُدُ, we worship. وَإِيَّاكَ, and you only do we seek assistance from. So he said, if Allah didn't order me to say that, I could not say that. That's too heavy on me to make a claim to Allah in my dialogue with Allah, in Al-Fatiha and in Salah. Ya Allah, really, I only worship you. And so the claim of a Muslim, and every Muslim makes a claim, and the claim is the Shahada. That claim must be tested. And the test of that is Balā, among the many tests. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we advance our evidence in His court, and we will, the court of Qiyamah, on the court of Qiyamah, we would say, Ya Allah, I was a Muslim. I testify to your oneness. I testify to your rububiyyah, your lordship. And then the evidence is, how did I respond in good times and bad times? Both are from Allah. Kullum min indillah. Everything is from Allah. The good times are from Him. And Allah says, well, what is the evidence of your claim that I am your Lord in the difficult times? Sabr. I tried to be sabr. And then what is your claim of the evidence that I claim? What is the evidence of the claim that I am your Lord in the good times? And the evidence for that is shukr. And my life is between ease and hardship, alternating spheres, like the day and night of the ulama that say it's like day and night. Can you stop the day? Can you stop the night? Can you stop good times? Can you stop bad times? Day is like good times, light, expansiveness. Night is dark. It's like bad times. They will come in succession. And my life will be like that. In a marriage, the example came to my mind. That's what the marriage is. By the way, there was a clip sent out a short while ago about a good marriage is good enough because there is no perfect happiness except in paradise. Marriage is life, isn't it? And life has Balā. And Balā means good times and bad times, the test of both. And therefore, everything in life, Balā is inscribed in everything in life. The way that I respond to Balā and the way that I interact with Balā is me, with Allah's tawfiq, establishing the evidence of my claim that yes, Allah, I believe in you, and more. Yes, Allah, I love you. Yes, Allah, I obey you. Yes, Allah, I surrender and submit to you. Yes, Allah, I trust your wisdom. Yes, Allah, you know better. Yes, Allah, everything that you give me when I'm trying to obey you is good, no matter in the form in which it comes and the form that I perceive it to be. Let's take, inshallah, a 5-minute break. And we come back, inshallah, in Istanbul here at 2:50. We continue, inshallah, in 5 minutes. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.